So welcome to the introduction of being and doing. Just looking at some of the practicalities, we'll be talking for about 5 minutes. Going to talk through the themes of the 8 weeks and what to expect each week, and then a few hints and tips to kind of help you keep going through the course. So first of all, the themes. So week 1 is being and doing, and it's going to get you to explore what that means to you. It's look at this idea of the zone of optimal performance, what that is like for you when you are performing and being at your optimal, whether that's in or outside of work, quite frankly, and the difference between stress and pressure, and also look at the benefits of focusing on being and doing. In week 2, we look at the hero's journey. And this is a concept that some of you might be familiar about. And why I'm introducing it here is that a lot of it is about that you will face obstacles on any journey that you go on. And it's being able to spot those obstacles and to keep on going, and how you learn from those obstacles and setbacks, etc. So I'm introducing it because you're on a 8-week course. It's an 8-week hero's journey, and there no doubt will be obstacles to try and stop you from kind of progressing, and so we're going to talk about that, and also about emotional intelligence, and get you to reflect on your emotional intelligence and what areas that you need to develop. Then in week 3 is about managing your mood, mind and motivation, and exploring about our brain and what happens when we're under pressure and under stress, and giving you lots of different tools and techniques. Week 4 is about understanding yourself, part 1. And I have to say, the whole of the course is about understanding yourself. But here in part 1 is exploring about your personality type and who you see yourself as a person, and the impact that has in terms of your being and your doing. Then week 5 is about developing a growth mindset. And you might have come across the idea of a growth mindset as distinct from a fixed mindset. It's from the work of Carol Dweck. It's very important, not just in terms of us learning on this 8 weeks, but also how we approach life and generally. Week 6 is your sphere of influence. And this is really important, because so often there are lots of things will be going on in our life that is affecting us, but that is outside of our sphere of influence. And so this is about how to identify what is within your influence. And quite frankly, all of this program is about working on what's in your influence, starting with what's on up here. But also in week 6, we look at how you communicate with other people, and that's about how to expand your sphere of influence. So that's very important. And that might be about how you communicate people at work, but it might be in your home life as well, in order to really be and therefore do what you want to do in your life. Week 7 is understanding yourself, part 2. Look at 2 things. One is TA drivers, what drives your behavior at a psychological level, and then a model that you may have come across before, I'm okay, you're okay, and looking at that and how it relates to you. And then week 8 is drawing on the hero's journey, is this idea of returning home and celebrating, and exploring what you've been successful in, what challenges you faced, what you've learned along the way, but also exploring what next. Because this is an 8-week course, but it gives you tools and techniques that you have access for a lot longer. And my hope is that it would provide you with the tools and techniques for life, but it's kind of saying, okay, what next in terms of what you want to do to work on your being, but also what you want to do as well. So to help you to go through each week there's going to be 3 bits of input on 3 days. Is on Monday, you'll get a motivational video or videos. So some of the areas I've broke down into a couple of videos, usually add up in total to about 30 or 40 minutes. You'll have a workbook with lots of tools and techniques to help you to explore and put into practice the ideas from that week. Wonderful Wednesdays is about keeping yourself going. So it's a little reminder about what we're tackling that week, give you an inspiring quote to get you to check in and see where you are. And Fantastic Fridays has 2 parts to it. is one is learning from your week. And so each week I'm going to give you a different technique from learning from your week. And so you'll end up with 8 different techniques. All of them are very effective, because it's important is that we do learn from our experiences, and that's how we grow as individuals, wherever we are in our journey in life. And also Fantastic Fridays is about planning for your weekend. And that's not just, in terms of what you want to do, but also what you want to be. And I'll explain more about that in the first week and about Fantastic Fridays. But it's really, really important. On the first course that I ran, is one individual said, "Oh, I never really looked at Fantastic Fridays." I said, there's some really great, stuff in there. So please do look at the different postings that come through. All of it is designed to keep you going, keep you moving forward. So just some kind of, I'm going to get onto some hints and tips for making the most of this course, but I wanted to quote from Thomas Edison, and he says, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." And so you might, find that there are obstacles along the way. And so what I kind of said in terms of getting the most of the course is take action. And I know that sounds obvious, but it's like people read my book and they say, "Oh, I've read your book." And I say, "Oh, great. What have you put into practice?" And they're often like, "Oh, well, I haven't actually done anything yet." So it could be very easy to go through this course and listen to everything and read everything, but not actually use the techniques. So do use the techniques. There's not one right way. So it's not the Melanie Green way. These are lots of different tools and techniques. And so, do experiment with them. And got there later on, experiment, practice, persevere. And I always kind of talk about that. I always kind of go like this, is that I have a toolkit, an imaginary kind of toolkit of different tools and techniques that I use to help manage myself and how I am in the world. And like your toolkit, you no doubt everyone's got a toolkit at home. And in that toolkit at home is that we might have some things that we use on a much more regular basis. So I have, my hammer and one of my screwdrivers I use most often. But there are other things in my toolkit that I might only use once in a blue moon, but actually they're useful to have there. So this is giving you lots of different tools and techniques in your psychological toolkit. Our brains are used to routine. We just do things routinely. And so I have sent a link into, along with this video, to a webinar that I did in the summer. And it's about creating a routine that sustains you. But it's got lots of hints and tips about creating a routine. And so when I'm coaching clients and I'm getting them there's one particular exercise about listening to the different parts of yourself. And I always say to them, so when I advise you to do it at least once a week and then on an ad hoc basis. When are you going to do it? And they'll kind of go, well, I think at the weekend. So when at the weekend? And I have one client who, and this often happens, people go very Pacific then. And they kind of say, well, she said, actually, I spend Saturday mornings, I start my Saturday morning in my kind of summer house or greenhouse or whatever, not greenhouse, summer house. And she said, reading paper with my cup of tea. And that's where I'm going to take my journal. I'm going to do this exercise. So get into that routine. Think about the routine about when are you going to watch these videos? When are you going to, look at the things on Wednesday and on Friday, etc. Think about the benefits of changing, and we're going to look at that in week 1, is that can help you keep going when the going gets tough. I've talked about experimenting, practicing, persevering. Get yourself a notebook and journal. Yes, you will have your handouts and your worksheets, but you'll probably want a notebook or a journal to do some of the extra activities in and exercises and check in with yourself. Do ask questions and ask for support. So feel free to email me at any time if you've got a question. If you've signed up for the version where you've got coaching alongside it, you can have that coaching at any time in the 8 weeks. And if you didn't sign up for that and pay extra for the coaching and you decide you would like to do that, then do contact me and you can have some coaching support. We can add that to the program. And lastly, if you've not sent back your pre-coach course questionnaire, please do that. It's about getting your brain in gear about what do I want to get from this program, but it also helps me if you do get in touch with me, so I know something about you and can help you knowing a little bit about your background and what you're trying to achieve. And I'm going to end on 2 quotes, and you'll discover as you go through this program, I love quotes and inspiring quotes. I have lots of books of inspiring quotes and a whole kind of document online. It's just hundreds of pages of quotes. And 2 here, one is from Helen Keller, very inspiring woman. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet, as much as we might like it to be. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. And then finally, Mark Twain, one of my favorite quotes from here, he says, 20 years from now, you will not be disappointed by the things that you didn't do, but the ones you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbour, catch the trade winds in your sail, explore, dream, discover. And my hope is that the Being and Doing program gives you the tools and techniques that enables you to do that and to go off on your adventures in life. So I look forward to welcoming you to the first week. And as I said, feel free to email me if you've got any questions. So goodbye for now.